Hey, you guys. We have been learning about the first 13 colonies. We have been learning about the English and their impact on America, on the colonies, what they have done over here, why they came over here. We've talked about who came over here, usually younger, single men seeking new opportunities, new ways to, improve their lives in general. And, maybe they didn't have anything else to live for, and so they would come over, and usually someone more wealthy would pay for their voyage, and then they would in return come and work in the New World for usually about 7 years. And so those are going to be our indentured servants. So we've been learning about them, and we've learned about the different colonies. We've established which colonies were the first 13 colonies. We've established that they are English colonies. They're going to have English influence. And we know that just because we know that the American Revolution was fought between the colonists and the English, because the colonists wanted their independence. And so, the English are the ones that have established these new colonies. So that's just kind of where we are now. And we have been talking, like I said, about the specific colonies. Georgia, we've talked about the Carolinas, what they've done, why they were established, what happened right after. We've talked about Jamestown. And so now we're going to move into more specifics. We're going to talk about different groups of people, such as the Quakers, the Pilgrims, the Puritans. We're going to talk about all these different people. And so it's really going to be interesting once we get into more specifics of the colonies, but we're also going to be breaking it down into regions. So it's not just going to be the first 13 colonies anymore. It's going to be the northern colonies and the southern colonies and then the middle colonies. So very interesting to see how, although they're very close, they're neighboring one another, or not that far from each other, they have very diverse and individualized economies and social structures, social statuses. In the South, there's going to be a hierarchy, of the aristocratic, wealthy families at the top, and then the small yeoman farmers down below them, the whites who don't own any land, and then you're going to have slaves. That's going to be kind of the hierarchy structure of the South from here on out for a very long time. And so we're going to learn about that. And we know that the South economy, or the Southern colonies, their economy is going to be based on agriculture. And then they're going to use slave labor to really push that agricultural economy in the South. And then in the North, they're going to not have slave labor. They're not really going to have a need for it. They're going to be more industrialized. They're going to have an industrial economy, and they're going to do things such as shipbuilding, fur trading. They're going to deal with lumber, different things like that. So not as much agriculture in the North. And then in the middle colonies, which are going to be those colonies that are between the northern colonies and the southern colonies, they're going to have a mixed economy. I know, right? A mixed economy, mixed between the industrial north and the agricultural south, right? Mixed economy. Pretty smart, right? So they're going to have a little bit of both. They're going to have some industry and some agriculture. It just depends. But they're going to have both of those to rely on. So it's very interesting to see the different economies of the colonies, and then the regional aspect of it too, like how that influences that and how the southern colonies have a need for slave labor and the northern colonies don't, which we know that we will eventually have the Civil War. That's going to be really the main factor that they're fighting over is the use of slaves, having slaves. So there's a lot to cover and a lot of specifics that we're going to talk about. So make sure you check out the map that I uploaded that shows you exactly which colonies would be identified as northern colonies and which colonies would be identified as middle colonies, and then which colonies would be southern colonies. Okay, so make sure you check that out and stay tuned. We're going to continue to talk about this.